Are you a South African passport holder? Do you dream about working in the United Kingdom? Have you ever tried to apply for jobs online but you've had no response? Do you want to find out how other South Africans are getting it right? Well, today's video serves to explain the UK's work permit and how South African passport holders can get their own work permit. We've put together 10 steps to demonstrate how the process works. These 10 steps are further broken down into 4 phases. Before being allowed to enter the United Kingdom, South Africans need prior permission to work there. This permission is given in the form of a permit that's placed inside one's passport. A quick assessment works like this. Starting out, if you're a dual national and you also hold a British passport, you will not require a visa in order to work in the United Kingdom. In this case, however, MoveUp can help with the British passport application or renewal. If you do not hold a British passport, the next question asks if you have any UK-born parents or grandparents. If you can answer yes, there's a good chance you can claim birth rights in order to enter the United Kingdom, and MoveUp can help navigate that application. If, however, you do not have any UK-born relatives, the last question asks if you are in a married-like relationship with a person that holds a British passport. If yes, you can look to claim family dependency on your partner's British nationality, and MoveUp can help in that application. If you are not in a relationship with a British passport holder and you've answered no to all 3 of these questions, then you will require the UK's skilled worker visa. Later in these 10 steps, we'll explain how that sponsorship works, but for now, we just want to identify that the UK skilled worker visa is the most common work permit that South Africans require to enter the UK, and this video is about that visa. Now that we know which UK visa is needed, the next step is to prepare one's CV. When it comes to preparing your CV, our first tip is to think about the transaction from the UK employer's perspective. Naturally, if we don't do this, we find ourselves approaching this opportunity putting our needs first, where if we reverse roles, it forces us to stop and think about the UK employer's needs. We need to understand their vacancy and why they've advertised it. The UK employer has identified a vacancy in their company, and they've had to draw up an advertisement to find someone to fill that role. When you understand their needs, you now need to ask the question if your CV answers those needs. Because if your CV doesn't have the skills or the experience to fill that role, the likelihood of an employer thinking that their needs will be met with your skills is very low. A classic example I like to give is that you need to imagine that you are a South African business owner. You've identified a vacancy in your company in South Africa, and you then create an advert, and you find that CVs flood in. The first thing you look for is the experience in solving your vacancy needs. Now imagine you find the greatest CV for this role, but only to discover that that person is based in Nigeria. Naturally, you have so many unknown variables with this highly skilled person. How long will it take for them to get to South Africa from Nigeria? How serious are they about relocation? And will they settle in South Africa easily once they relocate here? This example that I've just given you, where you're a South African business owner imagining to employ Nigerian nationals, demonstrates how UK employers have natural concerns. And it also shows that they would naturally gravitate first and foremost to a local workforce where there are a lot less unknown variables. So reversing roles not only shows you the employer's needs, but it also shows you the natural concerns that employers are going to go through when they do offer sponsorship to South Africans. So if your CV shows that you have great experience, you got to know that you're looking to solve the employer's needs, but that you're also looking to compete against a local workforce. To demonstrate that you have the problem-solving abilities that the UK employer needs, you need to present a well-written CV. When you apply for a job, your CV creates a first impression of you. Little things come up. Do you pride yourself in your presentation? Do you pride yourself in your work? Do you worry about the finer details? Is your CV rushed? Or have you taken the time to present a well-written CV? Are you serious about your career? Have you demonstrated and elaborated on your experience? And also it shows employers if you're aware of your strength. This is a very common problem that South African job applicants seem to have. They seem to approach the UK job market trying to sell the UK employer their relocation needs. UK employers, on the other hand, are just trying to solve their vacancy problem. It is important to remember the first priority should be getting the UK employer to realize you are the best person to solve their vacancy needs. Only once the UK employer decides that you are their best candidate can you then discuss your relocation needs. Therefore, the purpose of your CV is to do that. Sell that you can solve their vacancy needs. Here's another example I like to give, and that instead of looking at it as job hunting, we should be looking at it as job fishing. Your CV should be seen as bait, and UK employers are your big fish. Your CV should be getting employers to bite. They respond to your CV application, tells you that your CV is good and that they're interested. The more responses you get, the higher the chance you can hook them. On the other hand, if you do not get responses, it's an indication that your CV is not meeting the employer's needs or it's not as appealing. You need to work on your bait. A good CV should get you lots of bites. Now we can move on to the next phase. At this point, South Africans need to conduct research on the UK job market. To begin this step, you can simply Google search your skills followed by the words jobs in London. This search will reveal three important things. The first thing that the Google search will reveal is how many vacancies are available. The second thing that it will reveal is what the expected salary is. What are UK employers willing to offer? And the last point it will indicate is if you're seeing lots of jobs being advertised through recruitment agencies or if you're going to be dealing directly with employers. If you find that there are lots of different jobs for your skill set being advertised, you know there's a high demand for your skills. In terms of your market research, you're going to find that your Google search will show you the average wage that UK employers are offering. This serves to give you an indication of what the going salary is and what you can expect for fulfilling that role in the United Kingdom. This market-related wage is what UK employers are willing to pay. To ask them to pay above or below that is not market-related. Now that you know the market-related salary, we can conduct a quick test to see if the conditions for the UK skilled worker visa can be met. To qualify for the UK skilled worker visa, UK employers need to offer a minimum of £25,600 per year or an hourly rate of £10.10 per hour. These are seen as the minimum qualifying salary threshold. If your market research reveals that the expected market-related salary is below this visa requirement threshold, the likelihood of getting sponsorship is not high. If your research has failed the surprise test, it means that either the industry you've applied for doesn't have sufficient skill demand to justify this visa process, or that possibly your career goals at the moment won't meet the requirements that the UK government have set out for where there are areas of demand. At this point, I'd recommend you consider either looking to upskill or change industry. And also I'd recommend not seeing this as an immediate failure, but rather take a longer term view and then re-look at this relocation process. You're going to need to present at least 2 years experience in a higher demanded role. Moving on, now that you've prepared your CV and you've done your market research and you know that your salary requirements will meet the visa requirements, you can now begin applying for advertised jobs online. At this point, we want to test the employer's demand for your skills. and this test is measured by the number of responses you get after you've applied for your job. I need to emphasize that I don't have all the answers. This is just tips and recommendations that we've witnessed. And so I want to propose another theory that I have, and I would really appreciate it if you challenge my observation. But make a conscious note of this. My theory is that UK recruitment firms sideline foreign applicants that need sponsorship. I assume that these recruitment firms do not want to prioritize something that's going to take much longer to secure. And so they only focus on local workforce. But please just make a mental observation of it. That are you dealing with the employer, or is this a recruitment firm? And then keep an open mind to see if the recruitment firms are responding. Best case they are, then my theory is possibly wrong, and that you are getting results and your bait is getting taken serious. Worst case scenario, my theory is correct. At least you're not held back by only dealing with recruiters. You've also pursued opportunities with direct employers. And then you can get a less biased feedback from this job application. Now, during your market research and your job applications, best case scenario, you get a big fish on your line and they're offering you a contract. We can now enter the third phase of this journey. At this point, you've negotiated your salary, you've set a start date, you've hopefully identified some perks, and ideally, you've set an initial duration of your skilled worker visa. These skilled worker visas can be issued initially between 1 year to 5 years. Most of my candidates seek a minimum of a 2-year entry clearance, so 2 years of initial entry. And we recommend that you've obviously identified and crossed that hurdle by this point. In order to sponsor South Africans, UK employers need to hold a valid license with the British government. The good thing about this from a South African perspective is that all UK employers need a license in order to employ any foreign national, whether it's American or French. It's the same license for UK employers if they want to employ any foreign national. The complication, though, is that it costs employers £2,000, approximately 40,000 Rand, to get this license, making it a bit difficult for small firms to get over. So if you're dealing with a small overseas firm or a small employer, you got to realize that this might be a factor, a barrier to entry for them. It's £2,000 just for them to be able to be licensed to sponsor South Africans. With that license, for every role that the UK employer is going to sponsor, they also need to request a unique certificate to be issued. COS, as we call it, which is a certificate of sponsorship. This is allocated by the British government. The UK employer needs to request the certificate when they register your position. It sets the duration of your employment. What's important to also note is that the longer the duration that they set, the higher the cost. Once the COS is issued, we can move on to the next step. To apply for the skilled worker visa, you're going to need to present an English test and a TB screening. Those are compulsory requirements. At this stage, I'd like to remind everyone that this is where visa agencies add value. Not only do we help check documents, but we proofread the documents, we upload them, and we address key areas that applicants need assistance in. Otherwise, if you're not going to be using an agent, the best port of call is the gov.uk website. This is where the application will be submitted online, and this is where the guidance is set. When it comes to UK immigration, there are lots of moving parts. To help facilitate these needs, MoveUp has created a free induction program listed on sa2uk.com website, designed to help South Africans integrate into UK society easily. In closing, the final step before departure, get connected with our SA2UK support group on Facebook. Find like-minded South Africans that you can connect with and share your experiences. This is a private group that also offers more useful files and content. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our 10 steps to get the skilled worker visa. We trust you found this content helpful. If you've got any questions, be encouraged to contact us. Send us an email, info@moveup.co.za. Move up in the world.